What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another water hopping episode. We're here today to talk about why I made a big switch this year, and that's when I went from the Summit Viper SD, which I loved a lot and I used for 4 years. We made a big switch this year completely over to the Lone Wolf system with sticks and a hang-on. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even share this video with a friend of yours or somebody who's making a big debate right now between climber versus hang-on. I'm just going to touch on some points today for why I made the decision I made based on the way that I choose to hunt. So first of all, we're going to talk about some advantages of the climber, because they both have advantages in my opinion and disadvantages, which is what we're here to talk about today. So when it comes to the climber, I've been using this bad boy for 4 years now and loved every minute of it. There are a lot of things that you can do in a climber that you can't do in a Lone Wolf. A climber is simply a two-piece system. You got your top and your bottom, and then you got your harness. That's it. You can get up in a tree 20, 30 feet, whatever you want to hunt at. Perfect with that just right there. Another advantage is it's a bigger platform. You can see right here, this whole thing is your bottom platform, and I've measured this in the past. I'll flash up what the dimensions of it are onto the screen right here. I put grip tape on the bottom here, and it's a much bigger platform, much more sturdy, and area to move around, ability to adjust in the stand is definitely going to be a little bit more with something like this climber system. Basically, any beginner, someone that's brand new to hunting, can execute and use one of these climbers successfully and get up in a tree. It's definitely more user beginner friendly. I've done videos on it in the past where I've showed what my whole setup looks like. I can drop a card for you guys right here in the top right. But the other thing that I would say is an advantage of the climber is this seat. You get this awesome seat right here. This seat is amazing. I mean, I've sat all day sits multiple times with this. No problem. It's like you're in an easy chair up in the friggin' tree like 20 feet up. It's amazing. You could sit all day with this, no questions asked. The seat on the Summit Viper definitely exceeds the seat on a hang-on, which is a poor excuse for a seat. That's pretty much it for the advantages. I'd say, yeah, you got less knowledge required to use it, a bigger platform, comfier seat, and it's a two-piece system, so there's not as much to bring. With that being said, let's move into some of the advantages of the hang-on and why I chose to go with it. All right, so the biggest one for me, the number one reason I switched over, was the fact that you can take this system and you can put it on basically any tree that can support a tree stand. The reason for that is it's an independent climbing system. Each stick acts independently, so if there's branches the whole way up the tree, you can just put your sticks on the tree in between the branches and build yourself a ladder up the tree. You don't have to worry about not being able to climb a tree because there's branches in the way or this or that. That's what happens when you use a climber. You can only get up trees that are straight chutes. Even a tree with some lean, you could put your ladder on one side of the tree and then put your stand kind of on the opposite side or at a 45 to it and just climb side into it. Amazing for that. Just the optionability, is that a new word? The options you have when you're using climbing sticks and a hang-on are tremendously more beneficial, and for someone like me who's a mobile public land bow hunter, this is the biggest reason for switching for me, was the ability to get into whatever tree is needed based on what I find out in the woods. I don't want to find a great spot and then not be able to use it because I can't put my tree stand up in that tree. All right, another advantage of the hang-on for me is the ability to go up and down. It kind of falls into that same category of being able to be mobile and adjust on the fly. With this, you can get hung up, set up in a tree, and if you see some deer moving on a trail that's far away from your stand and you don't have enough time to take it down, you can just climb right down your pre-built ladder, move over to that ground setup, execute your ground setup for the night, and then at the end of the night, either A, pull it all down, or B, leave it for the next day if it's legal to do so where you're hunting at, private or public. For me, it's public. I can't leave anything hung up, so every day I go out and hunt, or every evening, everything comes down and comes out with me. That's just the rules, and choose to follow them. Another advantage is positioning. I kind of already touched on that. You can put the stand and a lot more variations on the tree, you know, above a big flat branch coming out underneath you, next to branches, you know, in between shooting lanes or things like that. The stand can pretty much be put anywhere. You can get the straps around the tree and able to push it down flat when you're, you know, getting ready to sit on it. So another thing that's big for me that's, I don't know, definitely an advantage of the hang-on is its profile. So you look at it like this. That profile right there is way slimmer than this. And when you're talking about trying to get through tight areas or in and out of a lot of thick woods and just hardwoods and things like that, a lot of ground cover and things like that, where you're carrying a lot of gear, which I am definitely carrying a lot of gear being a self-filmer, profile is huge for me, and being able to get a smaller, just more symmetrical profile on the backpack with the camera gear and everything, huge. It carries a lot better, even though they're exactly the same weight, by the way. I found out that the setups, after using the scale inside here, each weigh 21.8 pounds, somehow, some way, they're the same. I guess once I added my foam pads and these 3 sticks here and my aider, that ended up making it equal to the weight of the climber. So you're actually not saving any weight going from the climber to the hang-on for me, but I am saving on the profile and it carrying better on my backpack, which in turn can lead to it feeling lighter on your back. All right, so let's talk some disadvantages of the climber. We already touched on it, straight trees, no branches, that's all you can go up. Basically your shoot trees, just nice and straight between 8 inches and 15 inches is about the maximum, maybe even an 18-inch trunk. I already touched on it, it's got a big profile, it's very bulky, there's no two ways about it, this thing is big. Even though it doesn't weigh too much, it's definitely big. There's no way up and down. So for someone like me who sets up like a whole studio up in the tree between my camera arm and bow hangers and all my gear and everything I've got up in the tree, there's no way up and down. So let's say if you have the unfortunate circumstance where you make a bad shot on a deer and you want to be able to try and get down the tree fast, you don't have that option with a climber. With a hang-on, if you make a bad shot or just want to make a quick adjustment, you just climb down your ladder and pull it rest down later. So you can't hang sets if you're someone that likes to have something preset for the next day. You can't do that with a climber, obviously, because this is your way up the tree. You use this to get up the tree. Whereas with this system, the sticks and the stand are all pre-strapped to the tree so you can come up and down as you please. If you're in a fortunate situation where you're on public, where you can leave something hung, or you got private land, this lets you have everything pre-set up so the next day you want to come in and hunt, everything's sitting waiting for you and you can save a lot of time, get some more Z's that way. So one thing, another disadvantage about the climber is angle. So you have to know how much that tree is going to shrink as you come up it. So basically in the beginning you have to start with a lean on the base so that by the time you get up and the tree shrinks in its trunk, you've flattened out your stand. So that takes some getting used to, and sometimes you really have to learn a tree to know what the adjustments are that you should be setting it at. Sometimes you're setting your top different from your bottom. So that's one disadvantage here at the climbers. You really have to pay attention to your lean at the start of your climb so that either by the end you're not still on a lean or you're not the opposite way, leaning away from the tree, which is totally unsafe and something you should not do ever. If that's the position you find yourself in, you need to backtrack down the tree, get yourself back to a position where your base is flat, because hunting from a leaning away position from your tree is totally unsafe and not something I would recommend that you do. Another thing that they both need is a harness. Big believer in a harness, folks. I use a Muddy harness right here. Got a aftermarket climbing carabiner right here. The only thing that you need separate if you're doing the hang-on versus the climber is you need a lineman's belt for your climbing. That's this right here. I'll link a video that I got this from. It's DIY Sportsman. I used his video and followed it exactly to make my DIY lineman's belt right here that I use with my hang-on system. That was an awesome video, and I'll put a link right here for it. He's got a great channel. I'll also link him in my description of my video. Go check him out if you guys want to see some more of this DIY stuff, because he's got it nailed. All right, few disadvantages of the hang-on. The seat freaking sucks. I got through this season with it. It wasn't that big of a deal. But for next year, I'm gonna be bringing like a little foam pad that I'm gonna make or buy or whatever. Something that can strap directly onto this seat that's the same size as it, because if you're trying to sit a long time like I am, that gets miserable within an hour and you just find yourself standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. Personally, I stand up most of the time anyways, so it's not as big of a deal for me, but I like to have the option to sit down for a while if I want to, and I want to know that I'm going to be comfortable. With the hang-on, you're not getting comfort. You're getting efficiency, you're getting effectiveness, but you're not getting comfort. Let me just say that right now. You're not getting a hang-on for comfortability, or because it's comfortable. All right, so it's got a smaller platform for standing on. You know, so a lot of these guys that are moving to these saddle things, they don't even really have a platform. They just got a little square block for their feet, and they're hanging out from the trees. So for a lot of people, they don't really care about platform size, but if you're someone that likes the ability to move around, turn around, you know, stretch out maybe or something like that, you get a lot more area to work with a climber versus a hang-on. The hang-on pretty much gives you enough position to get into position to shoot, and that's about it. I can say the last disadvantage I would say for the hang-on is just more materials. I already touched on it. You need a lineman's belt, which you pretty much have to make one unless you want to use the one that's provided with a lot of harnesses these days. But me personally, I love the idea of having these climbing hooks, and this Ropeman 2.0, I believe, comes super handy, basically making it so you can use one hand and you can pull this up and down. It's very easy to adjust, and I might even make my own video just talking about how much I love this Lineman's belt right here. Obviously you need to buy yourself some sticks. I use the Lone Wolf sticks. I carry 3 of them with me, but I bought the 4-piece set just in case I ever find a tree or a situation where I need to get really high up. I also have an 8-er loop that I use on the bottom here. I only use it on my bottom step to get myself into the tree. Basically buys me an extra 36 inches without adding another stick. So I found that using 3 sticks in an 8-er loop, I'm able to get about 19 to 20 feet up, depending on the spread of my sticks and how far out I want to make my steps. I try not to overstep things, and I also try to make sure the top of my 3rd stick is level with the base of my platform so that you're not stepping up into your stand. I'm just stepping sideways or down into it. That's about it for the comparison. What I will say is I definitely am happy I went the direction of the hang-on, and the main reason for that is because I myself, I'm a very mobile hunter. I do all public. I actually recently just got my first buck on public land 2 weeks ago. I'll link a card for that video right here if you guys want to go check that out. But I got it in a day that I was in this Lone Wolf. I ended up taking it down from a morning hunt, storing it on the edge of the woods, and I set up down in this little scrub tree, and that's how I got my buck. But options basically is what I love this for. Coming up and down the tree, setting it up, taking it down. Once you've learned how to do it, being able to get into any tree is huge for me. I'm no longer just walking into blank hardwoods with tall shoot trees. I can walk into any cut of woods, and if the trunks are more than 6 inches and the trees aren't dead, I could probably climb it with this. So basically for me, it came down to profile, it came down to options, and it came down to the ability to go up and down. And really that's about it, guys. I wanted to be able to go where I need to go to get my deer. And simply put, that's the main reason I made the switch from a climber over to a hang-on. Just more options to hunt is really what it came down to for me. So with that being said, guys, that's all I'm going to talk about today. They're both great climbing systems. There's a reason I won't be giving this one up. You know, it now serves as a backup for me, or one for a buddy, or one for a specific situation maybe in the future where a climber is just the perfect option for that tree. We're still going to keep it, and we're still going to take it with on all the hunting trips. So I now have both systems. I love them both, but I definitely picked the hang-on for me personally, based on the way I choose to hunt. And hope you guys enjoyed that. Maybe this information helped you decide what direction you want to go, or maybe it helped you decide you want to make a switch from one to the other. Either way, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below what you guys use or are debating on going to, and maybe I can help you out with some of my, I don't know, personal experience. Anyways, guys, share the video. Thanks for watching, and keep water hopping. And I'll see you soon.